And blessed to be part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. We are chasing Stephen Moore. He was at the White House yesterday, and certainly we appreciate Mr. Moore. We wanted to get an insight on all these meetings that are happening, and we will do our very best to get him on, which means no guest, more time for you at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And what we try to do is make it very simple for you to call in. And here is a simple topic before we start bloviating, pontificating, you know what I'm saying, yada, yada, yada. The State of the Union has been postponed. And you have the cover of the Today Show, the lead of the Today Show, one of the most watched, if not the most watched show in morning television, saying Trump folds. And you're going to have people, the libs, and they may not call themselves liberal, they may not out themselves, but they're libs, who are going to sit back and, be joyful, be glorious that the president decided not to give the State of the Union. I believe that the president has acted as an adult, which is more than I can say for the radical Democrats right now. The president has decided to look things and put things in perspective and saying, it's not worth it. I've got to tone down the rhetoric. I've got to tone down the hyperbole, because Nancy Pelosi is not going to do that. Nancy Pelosi believes that she has the silver bullet to derail Donald Trump. And we are so blessed to have this opportunity in Idaho. Yesterday, we had people calling in from Texas, and we have people calling in from the Carolinas and all over the country. And this is our own little special group that we have here at KIDO Talk Radio, is that we get a chance, unfiltered, unlike Facebook, unlike Twitter, uncensored. The only thing we ask is it's not boring, right? To express our opinions. And you're going to have people going on and on and on about the president, and this is the end. You know why? Because they don't like Donald Trump. They don't like us. We're deplorables. We're the children of Trump, if you will. They don't like us. And they don't like that Donald Trump, after 8 years of imprisonment under Obama, and that's exactly what it was. And you could say that about George Walker Bush, a very nice man, but in reality, he moved us towards a big nanny state as well. Clinton, we've said enough about Clinton. But when we take a look at what's going on in the world today, that's why we're so blessed to have Sean Hannity and Lars Larson and Glenn and everybody else. And selfishly, me locally. You listen to folks. They don't tell it like it is locally. We do at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. If you're calling in, hang on. We're going to get to your calls in a minute. But I just have to, say some things. There are going to be people that are saying, look at Kevin Miller and the Miller militia. There's no State of the Union party. Well, because they've never thrown one, or they try to impersonate us, or what have you. The State of the Union will happen. Other things will happen. But let's face it. At 580-5436, 580-KIDO, Donald Trump is acting responsibly. And I want to say another thing to those people that are working for free. And you have some people that are saying they should quit crying and quit complaining, and they don't feel sorry for him or any of that matter. Well, I don't know about that. But nobody should be working for free, number one. Number two, I think we should thank them. I think we should thank the people who, in fact, are working for free. That's what I think. I think we should thank people and say, maybe we should just say, hey, thanks very much. If you have a neighbor, if you have somebody else that that's working for free, you should thank them. And let's go to the phones. Good morning. You're on the air with Kevin Miller. Who's this?
Good morning, Kevin. This is Christy. How are you today?
Hey, Christy. Thank you for calling in. Good morning.
Good morning. Just, Kevin, as I look at what's going on in our country, I find it very, very concerning. A house divided can't stand. And people can criticize the president all he wants for canceling the State of the Union address and a few things like this, but what he's actually allowing these people to do is to show their true colors, to show just how far they'll go to destroy our country and just how far they'll go to do everything they can to make our president ineffective. And it's a sad commentary on the state of things, the state of our country and the state of the attitude towards our country today. When I grew up, and I'm sure when you grew up, we were proud to be Americans, and most people were proud to be Americans. And that pride in country and that pride in self and the ability to be proud of who and what we are was so important. And, I see the divide, not to this great extent, but even like in our state legislature, you can feel those little ripples of the polarization trying to happen. And I would just encourage people, think hard about who we are and what we have always stood for, Kevin. This is the greatest country in the world, and we enjoy freedoms and liberties here that are not afforded people. They're afforded to people by their Creator, but their governments and their people don't work to protect and preserve those like it's been done here. And Kevin, I've told you before when I've been on your station, I really, really appreciate the stand for freedom that you take. And just in closing, I won't take up too much more of your time, but I'm so saddened, and so many people are so saddened by the decision that came out of New York State yesterday. If we don't protect and watch over the least of us, those smallest, preborn, totally helpless citizens, our country, I believe, is truly showing what a sad path we are headed down.
Well, and the idea that not a lot of people talk about life and faith on the radio anymore.
And that is unfortunate because, life and faith are what founded our country. And if we don't have respect for life, and if we start by not respecting that tiniest life, that tiniest spark of growing and goodness and innocence and life, how are we expected to carry that beyond the womb? How are we expected to respect one another? And when it's good to disagree. We don't all have to be on the same page. We don't all have to see things the same way. That's part of what makes our country great. But discussion and disagreement is different than divisiveness. And we must be so cautious because this will be a distraction to keep us from doing good works and from being united as a country. And disagree, fine. Disagree with me all you want. Stand toe-to-toe and tell me everything that's wrong with what you think. But we must show respect, and we must show that kindness and goodness that truly is what we've stood for.
Well, and the idea that you have people that vilify people like you, like me, and others is crazy. Just for speaking the truth about little boys, little girls, the unborn.
I agree, Kevin. Being a mom and that's and not just being a mom, but being human. If a child cannot trust the physicalness of his own body, if he cannot trust what that body is, and know that he was created or she was created as that, what is there to trust? What can you actually rely on if you can't know that what you can see and touch and feel and know in a physical sense? How do we expect them to be able to trust on any other level? And, I thought a lot about that, and I find it sad that, everything that we hold near and dear and have been able to call as true is being attacked. And I'm sometimes have a hard time to find the words to actually verbalize the intense feeling that comes with that concern and that worry about that.
Well, just look at what happened to those Covington, Kentucky kids that did nothing wrong. So even if you do nothing wrong, the left wants to silence all of us so that we just humbly walk away when insulted. We've become second-class citizens in our own country.
Exactly. And Kevin, those young people were amazing to stand like they stood, and they were so respectful under such horrible conditions, under such a horrible situation. And whomever raised those and the values that those young people showed that day, that's what our country's about. They didn't back down, but they were respectful. Now, hopefully, they'll have their day. Hopefully, enough people will see that, what went on. And they are. There are still many, many millions and millions and millions of good people in this country. But we, like those young people, it is time to take a stand. It is time to stand for what is good and what is right and what is pure and what is good with our country. We are not perfect. No one ever is. No individual, no country, no nation is ever perfect. But we are good, and we need to stand for that goodness, and we need to stand against this. I believe that the president, in his situation right now, because that's kind of the topic you started on, I believe he truly is allowing these people to show their true colors, to show just how far they will go. And it's just evil, Kevin. It's just evil.
Well, Christy, we always appreciate you listening, and thanks for calling in.
Thank you, Kevin, and you just have an absolutely beautiful day.
And, keep up your day job as well. We appreciate you doing that.
Well, I'm there every day, and I'm working hard. And, just one more last little thing, Kevin, I really appreciate so much the feedback that I do get from the people of our state and the people in our surrounding states. It's good to know, and it's encouraging, and it's uplifting, and it gives you the emotional strength to carry on. And I just want to thank everyone from just the bottom of my soul. I'm so grateful. And thank you, Kevin, for how hard you work for our state and for being willing to be that light and that truth and take that stand.
Well, Representative Zito, you take care now. I didn't know if I should out you on that, but thank you. You take care.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Coming up, we'll talk to Representative Scott as we move along. Ray and Maya working very hard. You're listening to Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. By the way, breaking news. You can go to KIDOTalkRadio.com. This just in, Congressman Labrador was meeting with President Trump yesterday, along with fellow conservative leaders, discussing immigration, discussing the shutdown, discussing just about everything else. So could this mean a cabinet position for the former congressman? Could it mean something else? Again, KIDOTalkRadio.com for the very latest. Good to see the congressman back in action, back in Washington, D.C. Joining us now, Representative Heather Scott joining us. First, we had your colleague, Representative Zito, and now you. Thank you for joining us, Representative Scott. By the way, I still have your Drain the Swamp, Idaho hat sitting proudly, hanging proudly in our studio. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
It's early. Is it early for you?
It's way early for me, but it's been for 3 months, right?
Yes. Allegedly. So let's talk a little bit about the Idaho Abortion Human Rights Act, ma'am.
Yes. So this is a piece of legislation being proposed by Representative John Green and myself, and we released it on Tuesday, which was the anniversary of Roe versus Wade, which is kind of a symbolic day. And basically what this bill does, it will eliminate abortion in Idaho. That's the bottom line.
Have you gotten any reaction from that yet?
Well, I've kind of been busy, and I was obviously behind on my emails. I've had some feedback from colleagues, and of course, people want to sit down and discuss it. But I can go through the bill, how it gets to that point with you. really, the reason we allow abortion in Idaho isn't because of Roe versus Wade. It's because of our state law that allows us to do abortions in Idaho. So if you, our law right now, Code 32102 says a child conceived but not yet born is to be deemed an existing person. And then it goes on in our code 18401 that says we define murder as the unlawful killing of a human being, including but not limited to a human embryo or fetus. So that's in our current code right now. How we get around that with abortion is we set up an exemption for pregnant mothers or the people that assist in abortion. And that's why abortion is allowed in Idaho right now.
Well, I can only imagine when people understand this, what the reaction you'll get from this. Do you believe that it will hit the floor and you'll have an opportunity to get this for a vote?
Well, I don't know. You never know what's going to happen down here. It's usually, I truly believe that hopefully this will reach the hearts of people. I think most Idahoans want to end abortion in Idaho. They're just not really, I don't know that they're willing to take that stand on where we stop it at. And I think this is our opportunity. If we're serious about killing babies, this is our opportunity in Idaho to stand up and take the lead across the country to actually stop abortions.
Well, obviously, you're going to get a lot of feedback from this. What would you say to people that say that this is the law of the land, it's the Constitution, and this will go nowhere? Obviously, you disagree. Obviously, you're a person of belief. You believe in life. What would you say to them?
Well, we are a sovereign state in a federal system. And I truly believe we need to start acting like a sovereign state and standing up to federal reach. I mean, we're not, it is our job to, and our Idaho Constitution says that all men have certain inalienable rights. And we're not giving that normal right of life to the most vulnerable, the unborn in our state. So I truly think we need to start acting like a sovereign state, standing up to the federal republic, and we have a duty to do that to our citizens. The interesting thing, Kevin, is Idaho back in, 2014, we had no problem passing the same language that's in this bill for guns. We passed the Federal Firearms Magazine and Register Ban Enforcement Act, which basically said that we are going to stand up to federal laws against guns. Many states stand up as sovereign states against the marijuana legalization. And so why are we willing to do it for guns but not babies? That's kind of where I am, because we did pass that. It was a unanimously passed bill in the House and Senate and signed into law. It was Senate Bill 1332. And in our bill, we use that exact same language for babies. So I truly believe that this is something that we really need to deal with in Idaho.
Our great friend Heather Scott, Representative Scott, joining us, talking about her bill to end abortion here in Idaho. What would you say to your colleagues listening right now that are kind of squishy? They don't want to cause waves. What would you say to them?
Well, lots of people don't like to cause waves, but the important thing is we're all accountable someday. And when we're accountable and we stand before our God and our Maker one day, what are you going to say when he says, what did you do to stop the abortions, to stop the killing of the most innocent and the most vulnerable? And we can say, well, we passed a law that made it 6 weeks or 8 weeks or, conception or this or that. But this just basically we either treat an embryo as life or we don't. And by making exceptions, we're allowing certain groups of babies to be killed and others not to be killed. So people need to search their souls on this one, because either you're pro-life completely and you believe life starts at conception, or you're not. And I think this is kind of an all or nothing bill. You either believe life is life, or you don't.
What can we do to help you?
You know, I think the biggest thing is don't get in Facebook fights. Everybody's not at the same place with this bill, and I think just educating others to asking them where they believe life starts at, and then why we're not protecting life at that point. Because I do believe most Christians and most Idahoans believe that life starts at conception. So the question would be, are we willing to protect life at that point? Or are we going to compromise? I'm tired of our side always compromising, always giving more and losing ground. And the moral decay of this country is unbelievable. In Idaho, you've seen, Kevin, probably some of the stuff that's passed this year with changing birth certificates for transgender, mandatory, taking away parental rights with vaccination. There's all kinds of, we're just headed down a really bad road. And I think this is one place we can stand strong and stand up for the preborn and say, yes, life is life. And I'm willing to take that stand. So educating others is a big thing. If you can just understand it yourself, take the time to understand, actually look at the language of the bill. I think you'll be surprised. I think most people are surprised when they look at the law and say, even if you're not religious, and you say, well, our Idaho state law says a human embryo or fetus is a human, but we're allowing an exemption for murder. And up in my district, back in 2012, there was a gentleman that killed a pregnant lady. He got 2 counts of murder because, she had a fetus in her. And so the question is, why are we punishing a man for killing a fetus but not a woman? And it's a serious question.
Representative Scott, we so appreciate you thinking of us this morning. We'd love to have you back, and please think of us as your advocate, whatever we can do to help you out with this and any other issue.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. You take care now.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye, our great friend.
Bye.
Representative Heather Scott, a bill to end abortion. We'll talk about it next in Idaho. First, traffic and weather together. Kevin Miller in the morning. Coming up next, let's talk about, Representative Scott's proposal, a bill to end abortion in Idaho. Congressman Labrador meeting with the president yesterday, and the State of the Union postponed. We've got a lot to do before Glenn Beck joins us here on KIDO Talk Radio. You can listen to us on 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Let's find out what's happening in your world. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
And we're rolling. Do appreciate Representative Christy Zitto calling in this morning. Representative Scott calling in. It's a big day here, big news day here on KIDO Talk Radio. And remember, regardless of your political affiliation, yes, we do cheer for the home team. We do love having the folks on, and when they have something to say, something relevant, we love sharing that with you. And by the way, just proving that anybody can call in and share your thoughts on the news that matters to you on KIDO Talk Radio at 580-5436-580-KIDO. The big news nationally, no State of the Union. Unfortunately, it's been postponed. So that means our State of the Union watch party will be postponed as well. When it does happen, we'll be at Dave & Buster's once again. Joining us now, Tanya J. Powers, Fox News Radio. Good to have you with us. As always, how are you?
Hey, good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am, just trying to figure out things. My computer is frozen up. So what are we talking about today?
Well, we just recently did some Fox polling, and that's what we're discussing this morning with the whole, how does the job approval look for the president, kind of what's on everybody's minds. It's a poll that we've done kind of as a 2-year snapshot. This poll was actually put in the field by our polling director, Dana Blanton, on January 20th, between the 20th and the 22nd, which was 2 years to the day that the president was inaugurated. So how does it look 2 years into his presidency? Voters apparently feel better about the economy now than they did 2 years ago, but they still feel worse about it than they did a month ago. 2 years ago, they were more optimistic about where the economy was headed. Then, at that point, 55% thought the economy would be stronger by January 2018. Right now, that same number of people who think the economy is going to be stronger in a year is only 37%.
I see. Kind of wild when you think about it. Better than 2 years ago, but not as good as a month ago.
Yeah, I mean, and the job approval rating for the president is actually at 43%. The disapproval is at 54%. He is losing some support among his base. Now, in September, the decline since September in the satisfaction with the direction of the country is mostly among white evangelical Christians. It is down 18 points from those people who were polled. The conservatives are down 11. Trump voters, people who identify themselves as a Trump voter, down 13 points. Republican men down 13 points as well. As far as other questions they were asked, they believe that his campaign did coordinate with Russia in the 2016 election. 46% believe they did. 39% believe they did not coordinate with Russia. They also approve of the job that Special Counsel Robert Mueller is doing by a 15-point margin, too. 49% approve, 34% disapprove. The voters who were polled also disapprove of how the president is handling this investigation. There's a 24-point spread on that one. 30% approve, 54% disapprove.
Well, I don't know where we can go from here, but fascinating results from this poll. And I guess I'll just have to pontificate once we end our conversation here. Anything else going on with you?
Well, there was a couple of other interesting things in the poll.
Right. Seems like, I mean, you know how it is. The difference between news and opinion. We'll react to what you said there, but it's I guess I'll just leave it at that. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
Those same voters also said that they opposed impeaching the president by an 8-point margin. They say that 41% say that he should be impeached, 49% say no. When they were given the chance to name whatever they think the president's top priority should be, the Republicans say that the immigration issue, building the wall, should be the top priority. 31% said that. National security, 16%. The economy, 15%. And for Democrats, the list is resign should be his top priority. 20%. End the shutdown is 15%. And unite the country is 10%.
Well, that's not very nice.
Well, I did think it was interesting that among the top three, end the shutdown was a big deal for Democrats, but not in the top three of the Republican answers.
Mm-hmm. Tanya J. Powers, appreciate it. I'm a little distracted as my computer melts down, but I appreciate you giving us the information without me giving you the usual pitch and catch. Showing once again you're not only our political expert, but truly an award winner in our minds and hearts.
The fact that you called me a political expert and just one step shy of an analyst, this is karma as to that. That's why your computer's melting down right now.
Ha! You have a good one.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. As we told you yesterday, the president has postponed the State of the Union.
She just went out and said, let's cancel for the first time in the history of our country. Let's cancel the State of the Union address.
And there you have it. So the president going along with it, and there we are. The State of the Union has been canceled, and we will have our State of the Union party coming up once it is back in action. Liberal Steve joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Liberal Steve.
Buenos dias, Idaho. You know, they built that wall too tall. I won't be able to, well, never mind. I just want to say Nathan Phillips, what a gentleman, what a man, waking up this morning and forgiving that child who acted so mean and bullied him when he was trying to drum his way to the other side. And where were the chaperones? Tell those children, stop it, get out of the way. And, of course, Nathan Phillips didn't hire himself a PR man.
I'm sorry, I didn't know we were talking about Nathan Phillips. We were talking about the government shutdown. We were talking about the bill to abortion. We were talking about Congressman Labrador meeting with the president. We did talk about Mr. Phillips earlier in hour one.
I'm getting to all your talks today. It's getting close to the end of your hour, and I wanted to go through all of them. And the abortion, they're never going to shut that down in the state of Idaho, because Idaho is not an island unto itself. It is part of the great union of this country. And that's what Trump doesn't understand. He needs to be for the people, all the people, not just his campaign supporters. This is America.
Well, I think he is for the people. Look at the economy.
Oh, the economy.
I think he is for the people. Look, he
growth.
wants to build a wall and keep Americans safe.
Kevin Miller, in 2008, fall of 2008, August through October, did the American economy crash as bad as 1930?
Depends on how much stock you had, I guess.
Yes, it did, and even worse. And if we didn't have all the liberal things in place, roads and highways and bridges and Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security, that we would have had soup lines around the world. And it took that long for it to come back, and it's because of everything Bush and Obama and everybody put in place that it recovered, and it's continuing to recover, hopefully, if he doesn't mess it up. This man has filed more bankruptcies than any other person in the world. And his father-in-law, his wife's father, is he not a communist, Kevin Miller?
Who?
President Trump's father-in-law.
I don't know. It sounds like you're getting a cold. You better get some oregano.
No, I'm not getting a cold. And it's not hemp oil, hemp seed.
Apparently the hemp isn't helping you with that either.
Is 100. You keep saying, I just leave people say what they want to say. But whenever I try and talk, you constantly cut in and say what Kevin Miller wants to say. Oh, and what about Cohen being threatened by the President of the United States and his attorney? What about that, Miller?
I don't know. Am I allowed to talk on my own show or not?
I just asked you a question, so now you are.
I don't think Cohen has much credibility.
You don't?
No.
Do you think Kevin Miller has much credibility?
Depends on who you talk to.
There you go.
Anything else?
Bye. No, bye.
Liberal Steve's a little off. Maybe his computer isn't working as well. Phone number's here at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Let's reload our topic selection, our magazine of topics.
She just went out and said, let's cancel, for the first time in the history of our country, let's cancel the State of the Union address. So we just found out that she's canceled it, and I think that's a great blotch on the incredible country that we all love. It's a great, great, horrible mark. I don't believe it's ever happened before.
There you have it, the president agreeing with Nancy Pelosi to postpone the State of the Union until after the government shutdown. That is topic number one. Obviously, when there is a State of the Union, we will have our State of the Union party, thanks to our great partners at Dave & Buster's. So if you make reservations, continue to do so. Also, at 580-5436, a story exclusively here on KIDO Talk Radio. President Trump met with influential national conservative leaders. One of them, former Congressman Raul Labrador, was at the White House yesterday meeting with the president, along with Jenny Beth Martin, who's on this program quite a bit, Stephen Moore, who has been on this program quite a bit, of the Heritage Foundation, Tony Perkins, Jenny Beth Martin, and others, discussing that he is not retreating when it comes to keeping America safe. He is not retreating when it comes to the government shutdown. And then we have the reaction of the Tanya J. Powers poll from Fox News Radio. And look, we have a lot of respect for Tanya J. Powers. She's a great person. I have known her husband personally for many, many years. I've known of her before we had a chance to professionally talk each and every day here. And I have a lot of respect for her. But, of course, what are the polls going to say? The polls want us to lose faith in President Trump. The polls want us to disavow President Trump. That's what they're cheering for. Just like the polls wanted us to believe that Hillary Clinton was going to win. Just like the polls said that Donald Trump couldn't get the economy back together again. Just like the polls say that nobody wants a wall. Tell those to the folks in San Diego if they want a wall. To ask the folks in San Diego if the wall has worked. So that's what we'll talk about coming up next. And thanks to Representative Zito, thanks to Representative Scott, we have this exclusive that there has been a proposed bill to end abortion in Idaho. We might go all the way to Sean Hannity today. We have so much to talk about. We'd love to hear from you next. The place to be heard, Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Rolling right along, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio, taking your calls about the issues that matter to you. Two breaking stories. Congressman Labrador meeting with President Trump yesterday, and Representative John Green and Representative Heather Scott drafted a bill called the Idaho Abortion Human Rights Act this week. The bill would end the exemption for abortion from Idaho murder laws, according to the Coeur d'Alene Press. And by the way, thanks to Representative Scott for calling in. They say the exemption is inconsistent with the state's constitution protecting life. By the way, if you miss any of our program, you can always go to KIDOTalkRadio.com for the very latest, and you can get the show commercial-free with our podcast. Dan in Middleton with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Dan.
Good morning, Kevin. How you doing?
Not bad, all things considered. And you?
Good. We're just kind of fighting the battle here with you. Was kind of cued in on this abortion discussion this morning. We moved in from Washington State about 4.5 years ago. We came up in 5 in April. And when we first came in, there were some things being brought up in the legislature. One of them was about the responsibility of children and parents, and that parents have a responsibility for their children and what they do. And that one failed. We've been listening to the other political discussions coming here and where they're starting to trend. And what concerned us, we came here to Idaho for the simple reason that we wanted to come back where sanity sort of reigned.
Right.
And as we watch this stuff, and then we start seeing the influx. I mean, they're talking another 500,000 people in the valley in the next 10 years. So there's all these projections going around. Idaho has really got to watch it because we're seeing stuff that was being fought in Washington 10, 15 years ago. They're just now making it to Idaho. And Idaho has got to watch it. And I think this abortion debate that is just coming up by this legislature here is classic. She absolutely has to do this. And things that we would have assumed years ago, just from a moral standpoint, that people would not do or would not accept, can no longer be counted on because you've got people coming in with values and moral systems that are just, in my view, reprehensible. And so this is a fight that needs to be fought. And I can't agree with her argument. You know, ultimately, legislatures, for example, when they start passing bills, things like this, there is an accountability issue there. And there is, there will be a life after death, and they will be held accountable. They will be brought before the bar and asked, why did you support this? Why did you let this go? You had it before you. Don't you believe it? And I think it's going to happen. And I think in this state, we need to stand up for those things. And if it means head-to-head confrontation with the federal government, so be it. The federal government is going a direction which none of us ever thought, at least I never did in my lifetime, is going. And so these battles have to be fought. And I think states need to stand up and start exercising their right as being sovereign state, not sovereign states, but states that have certain rights within their state. So it's been interesting, and I worry for Idaho. I really do. Nancy and I aren't going to go somewhere else for this. We're going to stick it out here and fight these battles with the state. But people have to come to an understanding that Idaho's going to lose the beauty of it and the moral standards that Idaho has been known for are going to start becoming diluted if they don't come out very quickly.
Agreed, Dan. Thank you for the call. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for putting me on, Kevin. Good morning.
Good morning. Traffic and weather together, 107.
107's Eric Everett.
Pro-Life joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Pro-Life.
Yeah, I haven't read the bill that Heather Scott introduced, but I'm going to. But anyway, if it's a personhood at fertilization, personhood at conception, that's the right kind of bill because that's saying that any time after sperm meets egg, you intentionally kill that child, it's murder. Now, presently, I have the bills right. I have the statutes right in front of me. Murder is still on our books in Idaho. Killing a abortion is murder. We don't enforce that because we think that Roe v. Wade is law. It's not law, and you can't make murder legal under any condition. You know, God says that murder is wrong, and so here's the problem. Heather Scott's bill may not ever get out of committee, but it needs to go to the full House and the full Senate and have everybody vote on it, see really what they think about abortion being murder, because that's what she's proposing. But even the pro-life organizations are going to say, well, the Attorney General and the Governor, they say that this can't get past the Ninth Circuit. It can't get through the federal courts, so we don't want to have the legal costs. Now, the remedy for that, all of that, is for you don't listen to the federal courts, you don't listen to the federal government. You just go ahead, pass the bill, and then the governor enforces the new law of murder of babies.